There is lots of art in this big city. Allow me to take you through some of the city's popular sculptures and give you a bit of insight on their origin. Through tourists' eyes, the city of Philadelphia is filled with wonderful street art. Living here for my whole life, I've taken the city's beauty for granted plenty of times. Oftentimes, I'd walk past pieces of art without batting an eye, while others travel across the world just to see it. Local neighborhoods are covered in murals, and sculptures are scattered throughout the city. Philadelphia alone is just another city, but with the addition of sculptures, it adds to the culture and displays the rich history. Without art, it's just another boring city on the map. The sculptures have a variety of different themes. There are some weird abstract sculptures, and there are memorials and dedicated monuments. One of the most popular sculptures in Philadelphia is the Rocky sculpture. Almost everyone knows of the name, but many people don't know where the statue originated from. The idea of creating this sculpture originated during the filming of the movie Rocky III. Sylvester Stallone, the director of the movie, asked for a bronze statue to use as a prop within the movie. The sculpture was created by Thomas Schomburg, and after the filming of the movie was over, Sylvester Stallone decided to donate it. Many people did not consider the 8'6" bronze sculpture of a fictional character art. In fact, a lot of people called it an ugly movie prop. The permanent location of it was undecided. The sculpture bounced around from place to place while officials tried to decide a permanent location. It moved from the bottom to the top of the stairs of the Philadelphia Art Museum and was once located in a sports complex. This movie prop has become one of Philadelphia's biggest tourist attractions. Almost everyone and their uncle has heard of the Rocky sculpture. The popularity of this movie prop is unimaginable. People like to take a picture with the sculpture while they're doing the same pose as Rocky. They're putting themselves in his shoes and becoming the hero of their own movie. Another well-known tourist attraction would be Love Park and the Love sculpture. This is another one of those attractions that people visit a lot but don't have a clue about why it's so popular. At first glance, you may notice the color scheme or that the O is slanted on one side. It was said to make the piece a bit more humorous and visually interesting. The artist Robert Indiana intentionally chose a color scheme that clashes. He has worked with pop art and came to a conclusion that using colors that clash make the figure stand out more in general. The artist never intended for the piece to be so well known. It became so popular that he didn't care to copyright it. There were people using the design on t-shirts, paperweights, coffee mugs, and other novelty items. The famous Love sculpture is rarely associated with the name Robert Indiana. Many only connect the image with cheap souvenirs. Though there are many love sculptures in cities all around the world, the one in Philadelphia specifically represents brotherly love. I'm sure everyone has heard of that phrase and is familiar with the love sculpture as well. The term, one man's trash is another man's treasure, is quite fitting when talking about the Magic Garden. The Magic Garden is a piece of art that extends throughout the neighborhood. Isaiah Zagar and his wife turned recycled objects such as broken glass and bicycle wheels into beautiful mosaics on the walls of buildings around the city. The Magic Garden was threatened by removal, but after private funding and the implementation of admission fees, they were able to keep it. They were also able to create an educational program which includes classes for children that encourage the use of recycled materials for art. Isaiah Zagar has dedicated his life to transforming garbage into works of art. This is one of the many creative and unique neighborhoods in Philadelphia. It is considered to be many individual sculptures put together to make an entire garden of sculptures. This piece definitely stands out and makes a normal city just a bit more interesting. There are a lot of art pieces that contain meaning, but there are other pieces that leave you wondering why. Claes Oldenburg designed a sculpture of a 45 foot-tall clothespin made of iron. This sculpture is located on Market Street. He has also designed a giant paintbrush that drips paint onto the sidewalk. The sculpture is 51 feet tall and leans over the sidewalk at a 60-degree angle. It is very cartoon-like and has the addition of a paint dab on the sidewalk. The split button is another one of his quirky art pieces. This piece incorporates a visual joke, as the artist thought the statue of Benjamin Franklin was missing a single button. The design of the button started out as an unbroken, gray button that would serve as a park bench. The idea soon developed into what it is now, a white fractured and tilted button. The split button is also quite practical. Children like to stand in the four holes, and students like to recline and study on the surface of the button. The button is decorated for special events and was once covered in black cloth in memorial to students who have died of AIDS. Another one of his sculptures is the giant three-way plug. The sculpture is nearly 10 feet wide and made of steel. All of his works add a whimsical touch to a busy city such as Philadelphia. In my opinion, these sculptures are the most fun to visit. Could you imagine going to some place in the city and thinking that it needed the addition of a giant clothespin? These sculptures are by far my favorite. They aren't your average information-filled background knowledge-based pieces. These pieces almost have no meaning at all, nor do they have a specific reason for existing. In the courtyard outside of the Benjamin Franklin Museum, there's a skeleton of where his house used to be. The iconic ghost house was designed by architects Robert Ventry and John Rauch. The framework traces the outline of Benjamin Franklin's house. This may not be considered a sculpture, but personally, I feel like it portrays the city's story just as much as some of the other sculptures do. The Freedom sculpture has a very symbolic meaning. The artist wanted to create something that was easily understandable and inclusive to all kinds of people. The sculpture represents the universal desire of wanting to be free. The artist knew that the message was easily relatable to everyone. The sculpture shows a figure that is trapped within the wall, and in each frame, the sculpture is able to slowly release itself. The last frame shows the figure has triumphantly escaped and is freed from being stuck within the wall. The piece was created by Zenos Fridakis. He has documented the entire process of bringing this sculpture to life. He has started by designing the structure out of clay, then did the fine-tuning and details. The idea sprung from a personal situation of his. From there, it turned into an amazing piece of art that many people are inspired by. It even has an interactive piece. The words "Stand here" are written within the mold of the freed figure. The artist wanted to help people feel like they were a part of the art. I've heard about and seen this sculpture maybe once or twice, and I got an idea of what it was trying to portray. The artist wanted his message to be well represented, and I feel like he's done a good job. There are also many war memorials throughout Philadelphia. Philadelphia has quite a rich history when it comes to wars. Therefore, there are many sculptures dedicated to the war times and people who served in the war. There are a mix of novelty sculptures and sculptures that help tell the history of the city. This city is filled to the brim with all kinds of art. The All Wars Memorial is dedicated to all colored soldiers and sailors. There are 4 eagles surrounding the torch of life at the top of the monument. A figure of justice holding symbols of honor and reward stands in the front of the memorial. On the left and right are groups of African American soldiers and sailors, and the rear of the monument contains representations of the wars that America has fought. The Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is a memorial to George Washington's soldiers who have passed during the Revolutionary War. This is located in Washington Square, one of 5 of William Penn's planned public parks. Though not much fighting happened, a lot of soldiers died within Philadelphia. This is one of the memorials that the 8th grade has all seen in the walking tour. None of us are new to the city of Philadelphia, so we didn't really care for what the memorial meant or what it was there for. We took another greatly visited site for granted because we consider it to be local, and that makes it less interesting to us. The Aero Memorial is a bronze sphere that is dedicated to the aviators who have died in World War I. The sculpture is located opposite of the entrance to the Franklin Institute. The sphere has intricate representations of zodiac signs intertwined within the piece. The artist was influenced by Roman and Greek art styles. The statue of George McClellan is a very well-known statue. We've all also seen this one on the walking tour. Again, I feel like we didn't pay much attention to it or the information that was presented to us. George McClellan was an overly cautious military general during the Civil War. His memorial was given as a gift to the city of Philadelphia by the Grand Army of the Republic. It is now located on the north side of City Hall. The Railroad War Memorial is dedicated to the railroad employees who died in World War II. On the pedestal are names of the 1,307 employees who have died in World War II. The bronze sculpture is of an angel of resurrection lifting a soldier in its arms. The angel's wings are pointing upwards to represent the freeing of the youth from the flames of the battle. The artist Walker Hancock is best known for this noteworthy piece. Those are just a few of the many sculptures scattered within the city. As you can tell, there are a variety of different styles of art being represented throughout the Philadelphia neighborhoods. There are a variety of sculptures here. Some are symbolic, others are just for fun, and most of them are memorials. After researching this and learning all this new information, it makes me want to pay more attention to the works of art that I pass by every day. There are a bunch of other works of art all around the city. These are just a few pieces that I've decided to share with you all today. Philadelphia is a wonderful creative outlet that has a bunch of inspirational sculptures. Hopefully, I've also helped you open your eyes to just how much there is to look at in this city.